Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of my Macedonian campaign for Divide et Impera, the mod for Rome 2. Today we are besieging Carthage and finally putting the ancient Punic city to the sword. Long have we awaited the agricultural might and wealth of Africa. And with Carthage besieged and my siege engines ready to go, I see no need to tarry. And also, I did very specifically play out, I did very specifically play out the steps of a turn before attacking. So, I really just see no need to hesitate here. We're absolutely at a decisive advantage here, and actually, it appears that the primary Carthaginian ground force isn't even going to participate because of the amount of navies that have been pulled into this fight. Meanwhile, the Carthaginian navies that are in play aren't particularly strong, so I'm actually very happy with the way that this battle has turned out. The odds are heavily stacked in my favor, but I should make sure to keep as many of my elite Macedonian spearmen and, well, my other useful and difficult to replenish troops safe as possible, for Africa won't have a sizable Greek population for a while, and it might be hard to replenish some of my more exclusive and noble troops. Also have to make sure that my army is near where my reinforcements are going to come from, but it appears that that is already the way that this battle is formatted, so there really isn't any need to hesitate all that much. I think it's just best to wait for my reinforcements to kind of, come into play. Now, I don't know. If these guys land anywhere close to the coast, then maybe we can charge them down with some cavalry units, but doesn't appear that that's the plan for those units, so let's just leave them alone, or perhaps it is? I don't know. Can always just have my cavalry line up over here, but I think it's best if I send my navy into battle, because the Carthaginian ships are, in my opinion, the primary method through which Carthage can fight against my vastly superior ground troops. So let's go ahead and have ourselves a naval brawl. A real ocean-bound skirmish. Not really a skirmish, an actual brawl. This is a 20-stack navy of mine going into battle against two fleets of Carthaginians. One much larger, and well, the larger one is the one that we're actually ramming straight into here. There's some towers, some siege engines on the walls shooting at my men. A little bit unfortunate that they can contribute to the fray. And it appears that the enemy navy is getting nowhere close. It will have these pikemen come into play, and ooh, okay, let's get back to my naval engagement. Oh my god. I just got an elite ship sunk. Shit. Ooh! Dude, I did not expect to see that flag disappear. Damn, I do not usually swear that easily. Jeez. This is a pretty, dramatic confrontation, though, I do have to say. Oh my god. Oh my god. We are getting hammered by enemy maneuvers. Fight. Anyone maneuver? Oh my... Okay. Okay. Dude, this is so chaotic because we're like ramming in a choke point. But you know what? Think we're finally starting to get a bit of momentum here. Nice! Yeah, I think, yeah, we did sink a ship there. It is up. What's that? Getting some reinforcements here, but in this ramming match, we are currently losing. But we've also sunk many Punic vessels. Like even if I do feel like we're losing, we aren't like decisively getting quashed or anything really. Just the amount of wreckage here, it's hard to maneuver. Yes! Another heavy Punic vessel with all of its sailors cast into the sea. So honestly, if we trade vessels, like, you know, 1-to-1 in terms of fatalities as a ratio, then we're winning. We can afford the losses more so than the Carthaginians, who have a far better navy than we do. Is there any potential to ram, or are we just stuck? Okay, I think we just sunk another heavy vessel. Nice! This one, gone. All of the sailors have to jump off. It's the rule. I love how when you sink the ship, everyone is just like instantly dead. It feels a little bit dramatic, but you know, it's effective. I just have to get some of my ships extracted from this melee. I just don't know how. Okay. This ram, even on a small ship, should finish those guys off. Nice! Another Carthaginian ship hits the deck. Hits it. Hits the deck. Goodbye. Okay, this tiny ship's about to get bashed by 2 of my vessels. At least I hope it will. 66%. I don't know. Just ram them! Yelling frustrated at my ships, unable to maneuver, you know, expertly amongst insane conditions. Just there's like no room here, and I have very large ships. Of course, they're clunky vessels, unable to really make much progress here. But the rest of Carthage's navy that's still out here is about to get obliterated in totality. Some of the ships did manage to land inside the city to reinforce the garrison, but whatever has landed, that's it. That's what the Carthaginian navy or garrison is going to have to resist the forces of Macedon. Then you know what? We can always just like land our navies right here. Looks like there's a bit of a gap we can exploit. Now, where are we? Yes, my actual military. First of all, we have to figure out which units should carry the siege engines. Let's get all of the siege engines aligned. I kind of want to take this wall. Seems like a good one to me. We'll get them aligned right here. gonna arrange our troops, our elites, more so in the back because we don't really want to use them. Our most expendable troops in the front. We'll have them carry the siege engines into battle itself. Our next most expendable troops here, I mean, I don't really want to overutilize my regular pikemen, for they do have experience that isn't really easily obtainable. You know, they're all trained expertly in the city, but so be it. If we have to use them, we will. Let's go get our Peltis over here. This is a siege battle, so you know, we don't really need to array for success, you know, as we would on the battlefield. The strategy that works here is a little bit different. See, our navies are only now starting to spew some of their sailors onto the sands of Carthage, but what few men they will deposit are going to be able to outflank the defenders. At least I think they will. We only have a couple of larger ships with us at the moment, so I have no idea how that's gonna go, but they might be able to do something interesting, something a bit more decisive. But yeah, we're gonna go and take all of the siege engines out of these guys' hands, because yeah, we're definitely not gonna use them for the dirty work here. You know, Thracians are also kind of hard to get. Like, where am I gonna get Thracian warriors in Africa, you know? Like, that would be an insane thing to get, so yeah, it's not really. But we can go get some Freyout Spears to go take over the siege engines. We'll go ahead and have them run over to their new charges. We can go get some more Thracian warriors back. And yeah, we'll have these noble pikes also. It's kind of go ahead and back off. Maximum organization. Now, when it comes to, see, what do we have here? Where are, yeah, you know what, we can get some of these Faux bearing troops to haul the siege engines. They're not going to last too long once they're on the walls, but they'll get the siege engines to the walls against the Carthaginian militias, that's for sure. And yeah, with 10 minutes already killed in the clock, let's go ahead, start playing this battle out. I mean, I'm happy with the damage that we did to the enemy navy. I feel like we did great damage to them. We sunk so many ships, got rid of a lot of sailors, which could have actually held the wall against, you know, greater opposition from me. You really do want to get rid of the sailors. They are quite solid infantry, and because I have a decisive infantry advantage, like, we're sending pretty reasonably good troops just to carry the ladders. And then once those troops get in on the wall, we'll send in more of our kind, as well as my pikemen. These guys will take the wall. Just look at their gear. Look at how weathered and experienced they look. If they fail, then out come the very elite of Macedon's infantry, the Agema, as well as some of our other noble friends or barbaric allies. Have so much infantry up against, well, Carthaginian militia isn't really all that equipped to handle us. And yes, like a small professional contingent, as well as some marines, but overall, a somewhat ragged defensive force up against a kind of an assortment of picked troops, if you will. I just don't know if I should go and send in my little naval contingent just yet. I think I will wait a little while to spring that little trap, but the enemy just doesn't seem to be reacting to them at the moment, so we'll let them be. They're not gonna like exactly do a ton just by taking a little bit of space. They're gonna be unable to hold it until we're doing enough damage with our forward assault. But the enemy is gonna have a tough time holding against my assault once I pour a couple of waves of troops up. So can understand why we're not exactly like starting to react too much to the threat of my tiny little naval contingent, which can probably be just bowled over by a couple of professional units if they pick the right ones, that is. Now let's start climbing and scaling here. think that after these guys mount the walls, we'll bring an entire, like, lineup of pikemen as the next wave. We'll get them ready to go. Phreo spears are going to go challenge Carthaginian hoplites. We're going to go challenge Carthaginian militia. In a battle of spears, I think my men are honestly going to do pretty dang well. There's more of them than the hoplites, but it also seems that the Carthaginians are ill-advisedly trying to withdraw their men, which is just letting more of my Phreo spears pour onto the hollowed or hallowed walls of Carthage itself. Carthaginian marines have come into the fray. You know what? Feels like we're kind of ready to start deploying. So if we want to get the second wave into the battle as quickly as possible, it's time to start sending them towards the wall. Run, my pikemen, run! These are actual Macedonian citizens. We're going to be risking their necks for my initial troops, which are more like provincials, if that makes sense. It appears that the enemy on the walls are kind of just ripping into each other ferociously. Nobody's immune. Everyone's taking lots of casualties. Trying to, like, set my men up in a proper way. It's gonna be kind of hard too, but, you know, honestly, like, the enemy just has this really stupid habit of just moving their men around on the walls. Makes no sense, but makes it easier for me. Anyway, let's start moving my men into this gap here. Considering how poorly the enemy is doing up on the walls here, I mean, they're losing troops too. My initial wave of, like, third-rate troops. Losing a lot of men to them because they're just shifting our men around, trying to throw men into the melee without any real order, rhyme, or reason. And this is getting Carthaginians chewed up in what is a meat grinder of Thracians and poor Greeks up on the walls. Now that my pikemen are pouring in, we're going to have the professional Macedonian infantry that have thus far conquered most of the world, really. So the Hellenic... Actually, not most of the traditional Hellenic world. What was I saying? But anyway, a vast empire! There you go. That's the flavorful... That's a more accurate, flavorful description. But in any case, we've slaughtered the Carthaginian defenders in this section. It's time to try to take more ground, or we can allow the Carthaginians to ill-advisedly throw more and more men into the fray. We can slaughter them. There's a couple of militia trying to make their way up here. We'll continue to fight them. Well, what has happened over here? Yeah, we're just taking this gate here from Carthage. But yeah, these Libyan Phraeus infantry, they should get crushed by my far heavier troops. This militia, I don't know why these guys would last even a moment. Should get absolutely obliterated by my men if we actually perform as we can. But it appears that these guys are kind of turtling, holding their shields up. So it takes multiple stabs to kill one of these fools. But actually, these guys aren't deploying properly. The enemy I'm talking about. After we whittle down their HP, they should start to die in droves. And yeah, that's what we're seeing. Already lost quite a few men. These guys are in combat and we're doing well enough. Let's see, we've almost risen the flag here. Once we have this captured, I think that we try to go over here I'm not sure how to recognize what the final victory point is. Don't they all kind of look the same? I assume that this is, like, the big one, because it has a statue. Seems to me like the most significant looking of the victory points, so why not just kind of send guys in here to try to capture it? See how that works out for us. But at the same time, we are winning this melee engagement, I think, quite decisively upon the walls, so there really isn't any need to be too concerned about strategy. We already have enough men upon the walls shredding Carthaginian units, and more than enough time left at a point where I feel like this siege is kind of a foregone conclusion. Because the thing about sieges is that it's more about successfully grinding your opponent out than outmaneuvering them. It's kind of like a resource management game, unlike a field battle, which is more tactical. So yeah, like, these enemy hoplites aren't going to last too long, and then we're going to have free reign over quite a bit of ground in the city. Meanwhile, I'm going to kind of send in this naval component to hopefully sneak into the city and capture victory points. Okay, there's a general's bodyguard right here that is going to put up a bit of resistance, so I want to maybe get these naval skirmishers behind my infantry, which should throw themselves at the enemy general. That's my opinion. Now, let's go ahead. Throw these guys into here. We'll go ahead and send these guys over to kill the artillery crew. Seems like a logical method of deployment. Yeah, sometimes sieges just like are a little bit laggy. Dividend and para, at least for me, they are. But it's alright, we survived. And it now, let's see. Man, these Freyo's soldiers are honestly holding out better than I thought they would against my Bronze Shield pikemen. Like, they are losing, but they're going like 1 for 1. They're just deeply outnumbered. Perhaps my pikemen are just not the best wall fighters, you know? They like more solid terrain under their feet. They're just those types of fighters. Let's see. Yeah, my naval assault has not borne fruit yet. Okay, I want to get my naval archers within range of the enemy generals so they can support their infantry helpers. So I can see, I mean, these naval guys, like, they're solid fighters, but up against this general, gonna have our work cut out for them. Ooh, somebody's militia having trouble. Go capture this little area. Okay, Carthaginian general. He's lost a couple of men. He's only dealt 1 casualty, so I don't think he did a very good charge. Or rather, inflicted 1 casualty against me. Oh no, I don't want this guy in melee mode. I don't want this guy in melee mode either. There we go. All of my archers shooting the enemy general now. I think that his life should be spent quite quickly. He won't be able to survive this heavy barrage. He won't make much headway against my infantry either, because this is more of an anti-cavalry style of general. So we'll kill them quite steadily. I'm gonna fight these guys. And then, yeah, we'll kind of build up these pikes over here. Yeah, the Carthaginians are now reacting quite heavily. Of course, enemy generals miraculously still alive, even though over half of his bodyguard have already perished. But now the general's running away. My naval trap still springing, still in the process of springing. Now, my pikemen, they're gonna have to go and form a phalanx. So we'll have them form up just in the nick of time. They're gonna be in perfectly balanced formation on solid ground when the enemy elephants attack, or have they decided not to kill themselves? Wow. Wow. It's a shame! For it should be an elephant's destiny in Rome to die uselessly running in the pikes. Too bad. Anyway, yeah, the battle for the city center is gonna be a desperate one indeed. But you know what? You can always throw more men into the fray if need be, and the enemy have more or less abandoned the gates at this point. Like, anything left in Carthage's hands is just gonna get obliterated by far superior numbers. Meanwhile, you know what? I could, like, block this area and block this area. What about this battle for the center? The archers are probably inflicting heaps of friendly fire, but yeah, this one's out of ammo. So we have killed quite a few enemy cavalrymen. Now I'll just start having my men pour off of the walls. Start killing the enemy. Nice. The enemy cavalry is just not able to hold, because the thing is that this Carthaginian cavalry really isn't that good. And my infantry over time will typically win against cavalry, so makes sense that we're winning. Just too bad that we haven't had any more navy spawn, because I really don't think that I have my full navy on the field right now. So the enemy elephants are getting into contact with some kind of unready units, which sort of does suck, but at the same time, Carthage is so, like, down on men at this point that you don't really have the potential to lose any of her troops at this point. Go send this pike phalanx into the fray here. Even with elephants, the Carthaginians aren't winning anywhere. Meanwhile, with this engagement here, like, enemy citizen cav will rout. Enemy elephants are winning, but at what cost? They're not really killing that many of my men. Only 22 kills for the elephants. A big win for us. That's what I'm going to say. A big win for us. Carthage is crushed. Although a rather, you know, look at that. Just look how powerful the Carthaginian city actually is at killing my troops. Like, just the defenses kill around 100. Or sorry, 1,000. Man, I am misspeaking. But seriously, like, around 1,000 deaths. More than 1,000. Just by Carthaginian defenses. And wait, is that my king? There's no way that I put my king on a boat. No, that was like a royal rival or something. Yeah, too bad. I did lose a lot of my ships. Anyway, let's raise Carthage to the ground. You know what? Whatever, 1700. It's fine. Didn't really want to have any of those guys take control of that navy, but it matters not truly. We have a ton of money, and, well, now Carthage is spent. Carthage is beat. Their main city lies squarely in my control. I can do with it what I please. Now, what I can say is that I need to go look at my politics and see whether either of these factions hates me. And truly, neither of them really does, but the Macedonian nobility do seem a little bit more attuned to my stances. So, let's go ahead, get them all married. Everyone's married, perfect. Get one of our people married. It's incredible how many children are interfactioned right now. Like, eventually we will have a absolute surplus of nobles, but right now we need some and we just don't have them. In any case, I don't really like the leader of the Thessalian nobility being in charge of his navy. Let's go ahead and get someone else to do it. And get someone of the Macedonian nobility. Get that one. We'll get this one. And then anything nice. Yeah, the one that helps out with ships. And then we'll send this guy back to Macedon itself. Now, the one thing left is that I don't really care about war with Carthage anymore.
I find the hate leaves you.
There we go. Because one, now that we've taken Carthage, like, why would I honestly care? Like, I just wanted to take over Africa, really. Now, the Carthaginians will still have to be protected against no matter what, but at the end of the day, I am quite happy with the way that we performed and what we've done. Was going to move his army across, but you know what? I think that we're ready to end a turn. I believe it was really just a battle for Carthage. Yeah, everything else is ready to go. But what a battle, though. I enjoyed that thoroughly, and I typically don't enjoy sieges. Although, to be fair, the Carthaginians did kind of suicide a lot of units. Like, they did kind of give away so many kills by moving their men upon the walls, and my men just cut them down with ease. My navy took quite a pounding outside of the city. That was the fun part. It was that amphibious version. You know, the Defender, Salugus. Okay, we'll enter war inside of Ally, I suppose. I mean, I don't know even where the Lugi are at the moment. Like, how far we've penetrated close to my realm. Sometimes they're quite close to Germany, but if they've attacked the Massilians, then I feel like they're probably in Raieta et Noricum at this point, so we might be able to send an army through Cisalpine Gaul to attack them or something. It just, at the end of the day, I don't really like Germans dealing with my Greek allies in such a fashion, so, you know. I'm not going to stand for this. The Carthaginians will make peace. I don't really have that much of a feud with them. I just wanted Africa under my control.
Let us trade. You surely will not turn.
I'm not going to give away that much for a trade agreement with such an unformidable faction. No way. Is Kyrene gone? Has Kyrene disappeared? Makes sense. Okay, let's figure things out. So, Carthage is, of course, going to have to withdraw their troops. We will have some armies kind of spaced out everywhere, trying to force that to happen. Yeah, Kyrene got taken. Makes sense. We really don't need to remain allies with this faction. We're just going to break every single agreement with these guys. We'll declare war on them ASAP. There we go. This guy is supposed to relax over here. Wondering, the Galatians, who are they at war with? Pergamon. Yeah, Pergamon's a pretty weak faction. Phasos. Just kind of trying to figure out who's with who. Yeah, honestly, us Greeks, we're getting pushed back in Asia Minor by Galatians and Armenians and all sorts of people. Now, where are the Lugi? We're not in Raieta at Noricum. Well, we're in Hyronesia, but quite far away from... Like, this is really far from my realm. Where are the Lugi? Oh man, they don't go closer. You know what, I don't have to worry about them at all. I'm just at war with them for diplomatic reasons, and that's it. Everything far beyond the Alps is just like, I don't care. I can't. It's outside of my realm. It's outside of my domain. But I eventually do want to go to war and recapture, and basically capture all of Sicily. I don't like what's happened to the place. 8 from fishing ports. Enclosed fishery. Look at the enclosed fishery, see what happens. I don't want to be a monger of any type, but has a negative connotation, so I'll go for the fishery rather than the fishmonger, which is the alternative building option. We'll make this as useful as possible for getting food, so we'll build everything up. Now... Now that we've kind of acquired everything that we need from this turn, I feel like it kind of is a pretty important thing to attack here. Let's go ahead and kind of do what we need to do in Armenia. Wow. You know what? Why don't I kind of sail around and fill up the Armenian coast? Because this settlement has a level 3 building, but will Trapezos necessarily have that level of defensiveness? Also level 3. They both have the same naval buildings. They both have infantry camps, so yeah, we're gonna have pretty similar amounts of preparedness. Oh, you know what? I probably still can't take them out, but I could also just like make both navies attack at the same time if I just wait, and we can just kind of raid the coast as it is. So yeah, why not just put these guys in like a raiding stance? Next turn we'll start that off, and we still have 8 turns in the field as a navy. The Armenians aren't going to be able to match us navally, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to be able to have a complete ability to raid as we please. And yeah, it's kind of all that we can do for this turn. Let the next one go. Now that particular move pisses me off a little bit. Carthage! Not your city anymore! It's become Hellenized. It's become a stronghold of Greek civilization. Majestic part of my realm. Honestly, I'm surprised by how steady that garrison looks. I'm like, can my navy really win that? Can't. I don't question that type of thing often. Okay, well, it looks like the rebellion and my lands isn't lasting all too long. They're already getting targeted. But now the Egyptians are brushing up right against me. I think it's kind of inevitable that me and Egypt are going to go to war in Africa. Refuse these bandits. And appears that my agent has upgraded my general. I'm just gonna get into the city. Yeah, I don't know what this army is doing, but I don't like it. This guy's gone. Okay, looking good. Everything looks fine thus far. Honestly, I kind of want to march on Garama soon enough. I'm just wondering how many more turns must we wait till declaring war is a reasonable thing. 5 more. We'll do that when the time comes. This army just stays put. Yeah, this force goes here. I'm wondering, so when it comes to Sicily, this, like, we're a client state, so yeah, I could fight them quite easily if I wanted to, and we have 2 armies in Italy. Why don't we break that client state status so we can take it?
Be welcome. The gods of Olympus, you have my attention.
I don't know. We definitely can't declare war within 1 turn. We'll wait for the next one and see what it says then, because I don't trust that in the slightest. Definitely need 1 more thing at least to raise public order in this province. Yeah, you know what? We'll wait. Just seeing if there's anything worth upgrading. Yeah, I believe that can't upgrade this just because of squalor overload. We're still waiting for that last building to finish. Yeah, looks like we can't really do much outside of maybe one of these or something. Yeah, we can definitely do that. We can definitely do that. Italy's a really wealthy province, so why not? Yeah, we'll just upgrade everything. We have the resources, so why not? At least I think that we do. Perhaps I'm miscalculating, but I think that we do, so let's go for it. Let's do it! Now, we moved our army closer to Macedon, right? Let's upgrade the hull of his ship. 10,000 of his polytides. I mean, that's like more of like Athens. So we can go ahead and get more troops from Athens, for sure. There we go. Seems reasonable to me. Meanwhile, what about this fleet? Yeah, we'll just go ahead and raid. That's the way the Armenians actually do suffer a cost of being at war with my ally. I feel like that would be just the best thing to do in general. So yeah, we're gonna go to war against the Syracusans, sure enough. We will try to protect our newly conquered lands against Carthage, who most definitely want them back. We're preparing for war against these Libyans over here, for we wish to make this our military hub in Africa. And that's kind of what we're up to right now. The Lugi are too far away to trouble me, but I believe the Carthaginians will eventually just redeclare war against me. I also think that the Egyptians at any point very randomly will declare war against me, or perhaps when they sense some weakness upon the frontier. So I have to keep Africa under locks. If I'm going to create any more armies, the best place to put them would probably be in Africa, unless there's some sort of issues that arise in the Balkans from an attack there. But right now, I feel like all of the parts of my empire are quite reasonably safe, and we have enough money coming in to the point where we don't really need to worry about finances, and we're just building up our empire to be even greater with all of these building upgrades. So we are doing pretty well. And there we go. The Syracusans attack us. Makes sense. I mean, probably obliterate my ally if we're dealing with all, or rather, we're dealing with all of Sicily now. But we'll wipe him out.
There's much to be said for generosity between friends. It profits both parties. Don't you agree?
I don't really have much need for money right now, I guess. So, I don't know. Really, we just got extorted for far more money than their peace with them is possibly worth, but matters not. All of Sicily is now under control of the Syracusans, who are at war with us. We go to war against Syracuse. Let's march forward. Panormus was destroyed, and they were my allies, so it's quite an embarrassment for us. Parthian Empire is now in action. Ooh, it's nice that my nobles are getting recruited so effectively, and yeah, we'll go ahead and bring this army into the region. Man, we have the top tier military school now. That's awesome. Plus 3 experience per turn. Man, this guy should level up next turn. Absolutely he should. And yeah, I'm just gonna wait for Race. Just wait for this building to finish. I don't want to throw a public order too much. But also, are we out of like... Yeah, we already have 8 armies in the region. Or rather, in the game. And let's see what they're doing. We have 2 armies in southern Greece. 1 army in Africa. One training in Macedon. Navy is coming in for replenishment. An army in Thrace. Navy raiding. Go send a spy towards Egypt. It'll be far more useful then. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm really not misusing my military resources. I feel like everyone's kind of in the right place. Perhaps only this general is a little bit not being used, obviously, but his whole point is to train, so train he will. And yeah, at some point the Carthaginians have to back off, right? Like, if we have an entire elite army parked in Carthage, and Carthage is getting larger and larger in terms of its garrison as we upgrade the capital, there's just no real point of having like this army nearby. We're not going to achieve anything. You know, look elsewhere, Carthage. We can go back to being friends now. If you're willing to entertain it, let's go try a little diplomatic outreach this turn. Absolutely not going to go to war against a Squardiki. Have a massive empire. Of all the factions I've seen outside of Egypt, they're the ones that terrify me the most. Well, I'm not truly scared. This will pose a threat for sure. Let's see where Syracusans are now. I think we have one army within some range of some of their cities, but probably won't be able to do anything too interesting with them just yet. Here we go. Nice. We can start recruiting troops now to this army, but I still do want to keep these guys within this settlement. It's just I did want to make this army strong. We don't really have all that many nobles coming out every turn, so it's not like we can really pain these guys.
We need more ships. Commander. Come, fight with us.
There we go. Give this guy some solid troops. Now, what goes on here? We can't really move into Syracuse all that heavily. Guess my marching abilities are capped by the winter somewhat. Yeah, we'll keep this guy over here. Yeah, look at that. Increased missile attack. Okay, we'll bring my spy closer and closer to where they will be of use. Okay, which one actually produces the agricultural wealth? This one. Right? Yeah, this one does. And I want the one that gives the food, and I want the one that gives the minus... See, this one's minus banditry too. Well, commerce, agriculture, farming. Get the Dagma. That's the better building. Boom, bada, boom. It's a way better building. Okay, so we have these guys readying up to invade the Libyan settlement that we covet. We have our armies going into Syracuse. We have some replenishment over here, and then everything else remains stable. There we go. Just the last little piece. Just check the little construction report. See what needs to be improved. Boom, bada, boom.
Will you not give up?
While the spirits of our ancestors have no use for gold,
I really have no intention of making peace with the Lugi. They've dug their own grave here. We are a great empire. It keeps its promises. Yeah, next turn we should be able to move against the Syracusans, but war against the Libyans is going to be on hold until we can actually attack them without diplomatic penalty. For I don't really care enough about taking their lands to, like, you know, Ooh, yeah. You know what? We played this game before, Syracuse. Your ambitions are always so great that we can never coexist. We can never just quite coexist. And I think it's time to finally bury Syracuse under the immense weight of history. Okay, Sardis is gone. Not really surprised. The greater surprise is that Sardis is still around in any form. But yeah, we can go ahead and just kind of march on Palermo. I just don't see any point of attacking Syracuse directly. They charge into Magna Graecia, and so be it. But I don't expect such creativity. And you know what? Let's send this army over. Can go ahead and make him attack Ekraz. You know what? Actually, no, we won't. We won't do such a thing. Or will we? I mean, I don't really see any Syracusans that could disturb us with, like, a navy, but we do have armies here. You know what? We'll just wait a turn. What about these guys? When can we move on them?
Before you say anything,
2 turns. No need to be hasty. Let's wait those 2 turns. Okay, nothing to really do there. We already have like 5 units for like a strong central phalanx. Now we're gonna have some more units, some more like units that'll be useful on the flanks. And we can start getting our cavalry in order. And we need to be careful about who to use here. You know what? We'll get these Peltas out, and then we'll start dealing with cavalry. Probably just use a couple of elite units, though. I don't think I will go much further than that. Okay, that's kind of all I can do for this turn. Play the next one. Many turns of a rather administrative nature, but nonetheless important ones. And we'll see what the Syracusans do. Try to defend from my attack into their Sicilian homeland. I mean, of course, it just took Palermo, so it's not like they can't live without it, but they don't really want to see their minor settlements fall with ease either. And considering that it's 2 turns away from their main settlement, they're unlikely to recapture it if they let it fall. So Syracusans might try to move their armies to meet mine in battle. Won't be this turn, but it could be the next turn. And while I'm always concerned about another war kind of just jumping out, just starting without me being able to predict it at all. Let's see, Syracusans. Yeah, actually, no, they do send an army to protect Palermo. Didn't think that they would be able to get there in a turn, yet they do. Settlements are strongly linked together, I suppose. But that's going to create a bit of an interesting finish, I think, to this episode. I mean, what? Ooh, wait, let's just handle the surplus. We have very high sanitation in every single part, so we don't really need anything else to help that. We do want to lower banditry. We do want to lower banditry. This does not lower banditry. This lowers banditry. Lowers empire maintenance. This lowers banditry, but it only gives food and stuff. I mean, ideally you'd want something like this, which does increase banditry. A little bit, but not by much. You know, let's just do this. Like, we have very, very, very little banditry. I'm sure that will survive. We'll get a lot of money off of that building. And yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and fight the battle that will define this war for Sicily. Yeah, I'm even thinking about just going 1 versus 2 here. I'm pretty confident based on what I'm seeing. I think this is a quite poor Syracusan force. And we will be outnumbered by a little over 1,000 men, but I think we have a definite advantage, even though this isn't like the best army ever. I guess army is a bit better, but it's only not a bit better, much better. You know what? Why would I go 2v1? That would be funny, but we'll get some action, but not 2v1 action. Now, this army has a lot of hoplites, which is one of the main reasons why it's a poor adversary for my pike-based army. They do have a siege engine, which is cool, but not really the best one, and a lot of our other units that are supportive of the hoplites aren't particularly good. The cavalry is strong, what the enemy has, but it's just not really like the best army ever that we're going up against. Just a pretty mid-army. I'll deploy my men up close, even though they'll start getting hit by the enemy ballista right away. Matters not, we should be able to overwhelm the enemy with just greater brute strength. I do expect the enemy to rush forward here. Get my reinforcements close. And yeah, my Cretans are gonna start loosing, and my Cretans fire very quickly and very effectively. So hopefully these archers manage to sink their shafts into the enemy. Get our pikemen to create their phalanxes. They'll be able to get into position long before the enemy hit their ranks, and yes! I can see many a dead Syracusan defender already on the floor here. Cretan archers are some of the finest archers that Greece has ever birthed, so it will bathe the enemy in volley after volley of arrows. Tarentine cavalry to the flank. Some of the enemy archers are already starting to rout. Meanwhile, the enemy hoplites are charging forward, but into javelins and into pikes, more importantly. Cavalry hit the flank. They're going to be pretty ill-suited to this fight against Tarentine cavalry. Greek citizens will get some Thracians to charge in. Whoops. Now, just thus far, every single fight that the Syracusans have been in is one when they're thoroughly disadvantaged. You can see in this press of pike, my men have a considerable range advantage, and arrows are being hurled over the shoulders of my men. Losing that cavalry fight on the flank, but not a worry in the world. We can always just kind of get out of it. Trap the enemy with our humongous cavalry advantage. Go, my general managed to do pretty well, despite me not micromanaging him at all. And we'll go and cut down that bolt thrower, actually. We'll just charge our elite cavalry in. Meanwhile, my pike line is just surviving. Just kicking Syracusan, but you can see just so many Syracusans littering the floor. This push of pike is not going in their fashion at all. Let's go ahead and rebuild this formation here. Kill these Greek archers with ease. I'll bring those Agrionians into the fray. 20-something odd Greek cavalrymen. We'll obliterate them with our elite Macedonian cav. But yeah, right now, the Syracusans are just being mercilessly outclassed. The central fight is not going their way. Their units are peeling back. Bloody and destroyed everywhere. Just Greek hoplites running for their lives all across the field. It's really just a matter of time before we finish this fight. And how did I, like, finish these guys off? I'm honestly surprised by how long the Syracusans have stayed in the field. Particularly with Syracusan Royal Squadron. We're going toe-to-toe against... It's my elites. You know what? Surely if another cavalry unit just joins the fight here, especially cavalry unit with spears, we'll start shredding through the Syracusan riders with greater speed. While should at this point start breaking through what is left Syracuse's infantry. I'm surprised there's still any cavalry on the field for Syracuse. Agrionians have killed 76 men. 77 men. Not a single one of them has died. It's indicative of the pure killing potential of these guys. Is now we're going to go and start savaging the remnants of Syracuse's army. At least what's left of his defeated nation on the field as the pikes of Macedon triumph over the hoplites of Syracuse in truly decisive fashion. I mean, look at this kill-death ratio. We lost very few men compared to the men that we killed. And you can see this professional military was just eviscerated. Let alone the garrison, which also suffered humongous casualties. But there we have it. Can go raise Panormus and, you know, an easy win for us. But that's all that we shall play today. For ultimately we played an hour. And that's about the length of each episode. But I do thank you for watching. The next episode, I hope to continue my conquests into Libya and hopefully take all of Sicily and then start preparing for war against a wretched Ptolemaic empire, those pretenders to Alexander's legacy. So stay tuned for that, and thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.